You're listening to Cross Rhythms Plymouth 96.3 FM, and I've got the pleasure and privilege of being joined here in the studio by Pastor Charly Kongolo. Charly, it's great to have you here. Great to welcome you into our studio.
Thank you very much, Dave, for having me. Thank you.
It's awesome to have you here, Charly. Now, some people in the city will know you. You've been here for a little while. You're senior pastor of House of Prayer Ministries in the city, but primarily we're going to talk about kind of your musical endeavours and some tracks that you've made recently. But introduce yourself to those who haven't met you or heard of you in the city. What is it that you do on a day-to-day basis, and what brings you here?
Thank you very much, Dave, and I'm so grateful that you've invited me in the studio. Again, my name is Charly Kongolo. I'm pastor. I pastor House of Prayer Ministries in Plymouth, a church that has been established for the past 15 years. I'm a musician, I'm a singer, I'm a worship leader. Apart from being a pastor, I'm a husband and a father of 3 beautiful children, and I've lived in Plymouth for the past 20 years.
Amazing. And you're on the side, which is like the least on the side thing ever. You're a social worker, which that must keep you super busy as well. So you've got a lot of things going on. So you've been in the city for 20 years. Where were you before that, and kind of what brought you to Plymouth specifically?
Oh, brilliant. I came from the Democratic Republic of Congo in Central Africa. So I came in Plymouth in 2005, and I settled in Plymouth. I loved Plymouth, a small city but a brilliant city, and I just felt like this is where God really wanted me, and I found my purpose here.
Yeah.
So it's been a pleasure to live in Plymouth, and it's been such a blessing.
Awesome. So you moved here 20 years ago, and then you say the church has been going for 15 years, so kind of 5 years later you set that up. So tell us a little bit about your church before we go into the music. Kind of where'd you meet? What's your church like?
House of Prayer Ministries, we meet at Abbey Hall at St. Andrews on Road Parade. We meet every Sunday from 1 to 3, and every Wednesday from 6 to 7:30. We established the church because I just felt the need of establishing a church with a specific vision that always had in my mind. And basically is the fact that, for most people who came from Africa, living in Plymouth, the first 1-2 years of their lives in Plymouth, some people, they struggle in terms of finding the right place to worship, because African people, they worship a certain way. So I struggle, when I came, and that's when I felt really the call to have a church that has a mix of worship style, whereby we bring a bit of African music, African praise, African dance, African singing. It's all done in English, but it's just the rhythm, the music. It's more. It reminds us of where we have come from.
Amazing.
And we mix it with modern worship as well, so that everyone can just find their part. So that was the basic vision, to try to reach out to people with a different kind of gospel. When I say different kind, I do not mean we change the Bible.
Sure.
But we do have different cultures, and we just wanted to promote that as well in the gospel that we preach.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to kind of make it somewhere that's really welcoming. I mean, looking at your website, so House of Prayer Ministries .co.uk, like one of the things that really stands out, and obviously is a real push for that, is that really, really multicultural. So as you say, it's kind of, you felt a real need for kind of an expression, a kind of African expression of worship, of what church looks like on a Sunday in a congregation. But am I right in saying like people from all across the world are part of your fellowship?
Absolutely. At the moment, we are over 22 nationalities.
Wow.
Yeah, over 22 nationalities. We've got people from the Caribbean, we've got people from Africa, we've got people from the UK, we've got people from, even in Africa, you do have different cultures. We do have people from Nigeria. I myself am from Congo, from South Africa, Zimbabwe, different countries. And the reason why we are so diverse is because I believe that we've got a church that is welcoming, and we also, in our way of worship, in our expression worship, we try to be as inclusive as possible, because we understand that sometimes just one song, just one rhythm can remind someone where he has come from, and that would be helpful. So it's not always an easy balance to strike.
Sure.
But I think we try our best to strike that balance, where nobody feels left out when they come to church.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And you look in scripture, it talks about every tribe and tongue being kind of following Jesus. So to have an expression of that really intentionally from your part and from the leadership here in Plymouth is amazing. So House of Prayer Ministries, if you do want to check that out. We are going to talk about your music now though, Charly. We're going to play a track now, Jesus, My Treasure, and talk more with Charly right after this about this song. You're listening to Cross Rhythms Plymouth. I'm here in the studio with Pastor Charly Kongolo from House of Prayer Ministries here in Plymouth. Although you do wear many hats, we touched on that in the last section, lots of different roles in your life, and one of which is being a musician. And we've just heard your track, Jesus, My Treasure there. So before we go into the specifics of that song, tell us a bit about kind of music in your life. Have you played music since you were a little boy? Has it been something that you've always had in your life? Or
music has always been my life. The first time I can remember, I was 11 when I got into choir in the church.
Yeah.
So since 11, I've been singing. I've been playing. Since 11, I learned how to play guitar. So I've been playing since then. Then I learned to play keyboard, bass guitar, drums. So I've been in the choir for most of my life. I think it's only when I became a pastor and other people start coming in, then that's when I stopped maybe getting too much involved in terms of weekly worship and rehearsal. But throughout my life, I've always been a musician.
Yeah, love that. And is it something does it run in the family? Is it something you learnt from family members, or was it more just like the wider society?
Absolutely, it runs in the family. In fact, my mom was a singer, my dad was a singer.
Amazing.
And when I was growing up, when my dad and mom were singing in the house, my dad was a pastor. And as you would imagine, we had a family service at home every night. And every night he would sing. He was a leader, and every time they were singing with mom, they were singing in harmony. That's when I learned harmony. That's how I developed my my ability to be able to discern voices, and so it runs into the family. And I'm born in. We are 10 in my family, 10 children.
Wow.
And all of us, we formed a choir in the family when I was growing up, and we used to sing. So music, singing, songs, have always been part of my life.
That's awesome. That's such a beautiful picture you paint of your mum and dad singing in harmony, and you learning that, and then all of your siblings just creating a choir ready built for concerts and stuff.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, tell us a bit about kind of Jesus, My Treasure. Then this song, where did it come from? Is it a song you've had written for a long time? Talk me through kind of where this song comes from.
I think this song really reflects a stage in my journey, in my personal journey. I wrote this song 15 years ago. That was exactly when I was starting the church. Mm-hmm. That's when I felt like the need. Before that, I was writing songs, I was recording, but it was either in French or in one of my other languages that we speak in Congo. Then when I moved to the UK, I felt the need of writing songs to speak to a specific audience and to English-speaking people. And not only that, I really wanted something that was a bit something that sound African, but in English.
Sure.
So in that sense, when you listen to the song, you can get the message of what I'm singing because I'm singing in English. But the beats and the rhythm and the way that the song goes, it reminds you of what Africa is. So I tried to strike that balance through that song. It was a way of me testing what God was giving me as a vision for the church.
Amazing.
So that song represents exactly that.
Yeah. So it really is, as you say, it's that story you just described earlier of your heart and vision. Because your heart and vision, as you described it earlier, wasn't to create just a kind of Congolese church or a specifically African church per se.
Correct.
But was to have that as a real influence and a real positive aspect to the music and to the worship and to the church, but also with English language and with English influences too, so that English people would be welcome and come along too. So this song is kind of epitomizes that.
Absolutely. It was about embracing the country we have moved in. Sure. Embracing the culture. We love the culture. We love British culture. We love it, but without forgetting where you have come from. And I believe that God does not do anything by chance. He does it on purpose. He wanted me personally here for a specific reason. And when I came here, I was a bit confused because I was like, what am I doing here? What the reason? Then when you search deeper, you realize that God has got a purpose for you. What is that purpose? Then I realized that do not deny where you've come from. Do not neglect your background. Embrace it, but also embrace your new home and put everything together and see what you can get from that. So that was the vision for the song. That was also the vision for the church.
That's amazing. And that's, that's such a timely message, I think, such a really important message for now. We've got a lot of opinions maybe that are just that cultures that kind of always clash and that they have to be against each other. But that message that like two cultures, embracing the cultural heritage you have, the culture that you come to, whatever the cultures they are, they can form something stronger. They can work together to make something more beautiful, and they can like work together rather than work against each other, which is often what you hear, which is really damaging and really painful for society, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming together, it's that's the power of coming together. It's embracing each other's background and cultures, because God is not one-dimensional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of it.
Absolutely, and without denying either part of that, as you say, whether it's the country you come into or the country you've gone from, and the cultures, it's not denying either side.
Yeah,
brilliant. Well, we're gonna stop for some music. Gonna play another one of Charly's songs. This is My Maker. We'll pick up the conversation with Charly after this. You're listening to Cross Rhythms Plymouth, and it's been great to chat with Pastor Charly Kongolo, who is from House of Prayer Ministries here in Plymouth, talking a bit about his music, talking about life, gone to some really interesting subjects in terms of what you've been kind of called to here in Plymouth and what you felt a call to with the church, with the beauty of it being a really multicultural church and celebrating the different cultures in your church. 22 different nationalities, you said?
Yeah, over.
Which is amazing, which is awesome.
We just stopped counting.
Yeah, yeah, right, fair enough. That's so good. And, that's been a part of our conversation, but obviously it's also about your music. And we've just heard a song called My Maker. So tell us a bit about that song. Where did that come from?
In terms of this song, initially wrote this song in French. That was many years ago, over probably 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I got here, as I said earlier, thinking about my purpose, why I was here, what is it God wanted me here for? I was certain that God wanted me here.
Yeah.
But what for? That's when I began to reflect on asking God to reveal to me or do whatever He wanted me to do, and God to shape me, and just to give me a shape, because 20 years ago when I came here, I felt like I was shapeless. I was just lost and confused about everything else. That's when I began to write this song in English. I changed the message. It was a node melody, that I created, and I just put the word, and the song really, the message is, the title is My Maker. I'm just saying, God, here I am, shape me, and show me what is it you want me to do.
Yeah.
I love you with all my heart, but I don't know what I can do for you. Can you just tell me what I should do?
Yeah.
So that's what the song is about. But as for the rhythm, you would have noticed that it's quite a very particular rhythm in terms of it just reflects what where the song has come from in terms of African background, and African beat.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that. The kind of almost the story of the song reflects the kind of way it came about, in the sense that you were in that place of going, God, what is it you want me to do? Sort of there's a real humility in that, isn't there? That it's not about what I want to do, I want to have this thing and that thing and whatever. It's just saying, God, what is it you want me to do? And I almost sense a bit of a humility in the sense of going, oh, well, it was written in this language. I've moved over here. I'm going to change it to the language in which I've landed.
Yeah.
That's almost like you're having the song shaped at the same time as you're being shaped.
Exactly. And the difficulty is, every language, when you sing it in one language, it's not always easy to translate that song into a different language and still get it right. In terms of how it sounds. You can't just take, okay, I'll say this in French or in my local language, and then I'll put this in English. So you've got to change the expression and make sure that your audience can understand what you're trying to sing. So I just hope that people who've heard the song, who've listened to the song, they understand what I'm trying to sing. But in the second verse, for example, I say, I've given up all my plans to make way for yours. So before I came, I had my own plans. I had almost everything figured out in terms of my career, my profession, what I want to be, who I want to be. And then I got here, I was just lost, not knowing. And then I said to God, I've given up on all this. To make way for your plans. Because until I've given up on them, you can't make way in my plans, because I can still be sticking to mine. So that was this song is a prayer. It's a prayer. It's a request, but it's also a surrender. It's just to say, look, I'll stop fighting. You take control now. And since then, I believe that God did take control.
Oh, that's an amazing message, Pastor Charly. It's such a huge and important and vital, and I think particularly vital at this stage. I mean, I guess at any stage in society, really, but it's a really countercultural message, and a core message of the Christian faith is that it is about him being not just a savior to us, but our Lord, that we lay down our lives and say, God, what is it you want to do with my life, rather than just what I want to do with my life. And sometimes the things might marry, in the sense that you might have always had a passion to be a doctor, and God says, I want you to be a doctor. It might be that it marries up, but sometimes it really doesn't marry up. And that whole process of laying down your life and saying, God, no, it's what you want me to do rather than what I want myself to do. It's huge, it's vital, and that's really what it's about, really. Absolutely. That's when your life, becomes fruitful, when he works in your life in bigger ways.
Absolutely. Sometimes in life you can be doing what you want, but you don't really find fulfillment in it.
That's it.
You just feel like you drain all the time, until really you begin to live your life according to what God wanted you to live. And when God has his way in your life, then you find a sense of purpose, really. That's where satisfaction comes from. It's because nothing else satisfies more than you being right in God's will and doing what God wants you to do and be where God wanted you to be.
And enjoying him and being with him and everything that goes with that, isn't it? Because as you say, famous Rolling Stones lyric, I can't get no satisfaction. If you're searching for your own life, it's constantly everything that you get, and you might be listening to this and you might not be a Christian, but you might have experienced this as a listener right now. Maybe you've got to the job that you always wanted to get to, and you've got the pay packet you always wanted, or the house you always wanted, but they never really satisfy. There's always something more you could be doing, something different. You can always compare yourself to someone else. But as you say, if you're resting in like, well, God loves me, he's got a plan for me, I'm in his purposes, that's where peace and satisfaction comes.
Exactly.
Isn't it? Amazing. So talk me through then, we'll finish with this, I suppose. So you've talked about how you speak 4 different languages. So when it comes to writing songs, I know that My Maker there was quite specific. You changed the language on it. Do songs come to you like in a particular language, or do you think like this subject matter's best communicated in this language? Like, or is it a bit of a mix? Like, I'm really interested in that. How, why you don't end up writing them all in one language as compared to another sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a bit complex to explain this, but what I would say is, I suppose that you want to know how songs come to me. How
do you think of songs in a particular language? Do you know what I mean? It's like when people learn a new language, they say, "Do you dream in French now?" or something. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I probably would say that I dream in my mother tongue.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think I would dream in English because it's not my first language.
Sure.
It's not my first language. I would say that the language I feel more comfortable in is French.
Okay.
And then I speak Lingala, which is the language that we speak in the capital, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in Kinshasa.
Yeah.
And then I've got my parents' dialect from the village, which is called Chiluba. If a song comes to me, it comes to me most probably in French.
Okay.
And but sometimes I'm intentional in terms of what do I want to say in that song? Who am I saying it to? So when I determine my audience, then I determine which language that song will go.
Amazing.
And so if I'm saying, okay, I feel like this is going to be the message, and my audience is going to be, let's say, for people in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which I have done with, we've played 2 songs in English, but I have not just recorded 2 songs. I've recorded songs in French, in Congo, for example, in radios. Right now they are playing songs in French and Lingala. They won't play the English one.
Sure.
I just choose which audience I want to speak to, and I decided which language I would definitely ended up writing the song. But initially, it's usually French.
That's amazing. It's such a fascinating aspect to your songwriting, particularly like that. You've got that whole thing at play, because songwriting for me is quite an amazing thing anyway. I'm always in awe of people who can just create a song out of nothing. And obviously there's the writing the lyrics, the writing the music and marrying it up. But to then have like different languages at play is a really interesting aspect. So that's great. Well, thank you for your time, Charly. It's been really great to speak to you. And where can people find these songs and others and find out more about you if they want to?
Oh, brilliant. The songs are on all the digital platforms, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube Music, all the digital platforms. If you just type my name, Charly Kongolo, Charly with Y, not IE. Charly Kongolo, you'll be able to find my songs. You will have the opportunity to listen to other songs that I've recorded, which are not necessarily in English. But sometimes it doesn't really matter the language. Sometimes it's just the rhythm, the beat, and the melody, which can just touch your heart. So that's where you can find, and we do have a website, the church website. That's where you can find also more information about us. On YouTube as well. I'm on YouTube, Pastor Charly Kongolo. I've got music video as well on my channel on YouTube. Just type Pastor Charly Kongolo and you'll be able to see our music videos.
Awesome. And we'll get this interview up on our YouTube as well. So search Cross Rhythms Plymouth on YouTube and you'll find that. Pastor Charly Kongolo, that's Kongolo with a K, just in case you're searching it. But the website for the church as well, House of Prayer Ministries.co.uk. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Charly, it's been great to speak to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.